Hi everyone, I hope all is well. This week's Parsha is Parshat Devarim. Now, looking over this week's Parsha, we're starting the last book of the Torah. There's a lot that's going on, and this entire last book is a speech by Moshe at the end of his life. So very powerful stuff come out from the book of Devarim and this Parsha. So, what happens? Personally, I know many of us struggle with this, I know I do, but one of the big issues that we have today is critiquing other people, right? Being up in their business. There's a concept, Jewish yentas, which actually comes up in this Parsha, one of the Rashis, that Jews love being in each other's business all the time and critiquing each other. Now, on one hand, this can be a good thing. Constructive criticism is great. It's a way to improve ourselves, albeit it's great. But on the other hand, it could also be very destructive and it could harm people. So, one really cool message I think that we can get out of this week's Parsha, is how to critique, how to criticize the way we should, the way that we could navigate through the Torah. And we see that through Moshe. And Moshe starts off his speech criticizing the Jewish people, right? The beginning, this week's Parsha, Devarim, is basically a critique that Moshe is having on the Jewish people. Now, you could look at the Rashis and see each critique specifically, but Moshe himself doesn't just blurt out everything the Jews do wrong. He hints very subtly, he doesn't say, oh, you did bad at the golden calf. No, he hints toward it very subtly, and these subtleties are really how Moshe gets points across to the Jewish people. Now that's one aspect to point out. Another to point out is the timing. This is the end of Moshe's life, where he's able to really give the Jews some musar, some points to really reflect on and for self-improvement. And this is coming at the end of Moshe's life. Now, why is it coming at the end of Moshe's life? Because this is the time where he thought was most opportune. So I'm not telling everyone just to wait to the end of our lives to give critique to each other. Especially, if it's not your place, then don't give criticism at all. But if you think it's your place, then wait for the most opportune time to do so. Okay, so message number one, don't be harsh, right? Be subtle when you're critiquing. And message number two is be critique at the proper time. Now, finally, something that Moshe does that is really nice is throughout the whole critique, he weaves in some, again, subtle, but positives. You see that you came from a nation of a golden calf, and now you're about to go into the land of Israel. You really improved. You spent 40 years in the desert. You're doing well. You're doing good. So I think it's just a nice, simple message to really relay over for this week's Parsha. And it's something I think, again, is really cool for us to be able to apply to our daily lives, how to critique correctly. It's just one little thing we could learn from Moshe Rabbeinu from this week's Parsha. And with that, I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.